Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back and thank you for supporting me. I'm Coretta. In this video, I will show you how to create a 3D effect rhinestone template. Come on y'all, let's get started. For this project, I will be using Hotfix transfer tape, rhinestone flock. I will be using a Gildan cotton t-shirt, rhinestones in SS10, a edge brush to brush in the rhinestones, and a wax pencil to place rhinestones in circles where a rhinestone did not brush in, or to remove extra rhinestones off of the rhinestone template. I will leave a list of these items in the description of the video. Here in Silhouette Studio Business Edition, I want to create a 3D rhinestone template. So the first thing that I'm going to do is add my text. And to add my text, I am going to select the text tool on the left toolbar, and it looks like the letter A. I'm going to select anywhere on the canvas, and I am going to type nope. Then I am going to click anywhere on the canvas once I am finished typing. Now that I have my text, I am going to change the color. To change the color, I am going to select my word, and then I'm going to select the fill panel on the right toolbar, and it looks like a paint palette. And then I'm going to select yellow. Next, I will change the line color. And to change the line color, I am going to make sure that the word is selected. And on the right toolbar, I'm going to select line style, which is the icon with the 3 lines. I'm going to select the second icon, which is line color. And then I'm going to select none, which is the square with the X. Now I'm going to select my font. To select my font, I am going to make sure that the word is selected. And on the right toolbar, I'm going to select the text style panel. And it is the icon with the uppercase and the lowercase a. And once the panel opens, I am going to select the font North Height. So I'm just going to scroll down to find North Height. So here's my font. So I'm going to select my font. Remember, when creating rhinestone templates, you want to use a thick or a chunky font because they're easier to convert to rhinestones. Now that I have my font selected, I can see that the letters are too close for the design that I want to make. And so I'm going to change the letter spacing. On the textile panel, which is already open, I am going to go to the bottom of the panel, and I am going to increase the character spacing. And to increase the character spacing, I am going to use the up and down arrows. And so I'm going to use the up arrow to increase the character spacing to 125%. And then I can see now that I have the space between my words. With the font selected and the character spacing done, I am going to size my word. Before I size the word, I just want to point out that the bounding box around my word is larger than the word. And so that I can get a more accurate size, I am going to make sure that my word is selected. And on the top menu, I'm going to go to Object, and I'm going to select Convert to Path. So now I can see that the bounding box is closer around my word. And so now I can size the word to about 10 inches proportionately. And to size it, I am going to make sure that the word is selected. On the top toolbar under Size, I want to leave the aspect ratio locked. And then I'm going to change my width to 10 inches and hit enter. So I want my word note to be 3D. And so to create the 3D effect, I am going to add an offset. And to add an offset, I am going to select the word nope. And on the right toolbar, I am going to select the offset panel. And the offset panel is the icon with a star and an outline. On the offset panel, I'm going to select offset. I am going to change my distance to 0.125 and I'm going to hit enter. And that is just going to show me what my offset looks like. And once I'm satisfied, I'm going to select apply. With the offset still selected, I am going to go to the top menu and I'm going to select object and group. Then I'm going to change the color of the offset to green. And I'm going to change the line style to none. With the offset still selected, I am going to go to the right toolbar and I am going to select the replicate panel. And it is the starburst or the pinwheel icon. And I am going to select the second icon, which is advanced replicate. Here is where I am going to build the 3D effect. So for the number of copies, I'm going to change that number to 4 and hit enter. For the position of each copy, I am going to select the last icon, which is a custom position. Another option is going to open for the X and Y offset. And for the X offset, I am going to change it to 0.125 and hit enter. And for the Y offset, I'm going to also change that to 0.125 and hit enter. And then I'm going to select apply. All of the copies will show to the front of the design and I need them to be on the back. So to position them on the back, I am going to make sure that the offset duplicates are still selected. And on the top menu, I am going to select panels and select by color. When the panel opens, I am going to select the by field tab. And then I'm going to select green. And this is going to select all of the green layers. With the green layers selected, I am going to go to the top menu and I'm going to select object. I'm going to select arrange and I'm going to select send to back. With the green layer still selected, I am going to go to the top menu and select object. I'm going to select modify and then weld. Next, I'm going to subtract the yellow layer from the green layer so that when I convert this design to rhinestones, I do not have rhinestones on top of each other. And to subtract, I am going to select the entire design, both the green and the yellow layer. And on the right toolbar, I am going to select the modify panel, and it is the icon with the square and the circle. And when the panel open, I am going to select subtract all. Now I have removed the inside of the 3D effect so that my rhinestones won't overlap. Next, I want to create some space between the 3D effect and the inside of my design so that my rhinestones on the inside fit perfectly inside of the 3D effect without overlapping. And to do this, I am going to add an internal offset to the yellow layer. And so I am going to select the yellow layer. And on the right toolbar, I am going to select the offset panel. When the panel opens, I am going to select internal offset. And I am going to change my distance to 0.125 and hit enter. Then I'm going to select apply. With the offset still selected, I am going to go to the top menu and select object and group. Then I'm going to change the color to orange. And then I'm going to change the line style to none. After I create the internal offset, which is the orange layer, I am going to select the yellow layer. And then I'm going to move it off of the canvas because I don't need it anymore. Now my design is complete and I can convert it to rhinestones. And so I'm going to open up the rhinestone panel. To open the rhinestone panel, I am going to go to the top menu and select panels. And I'm going to scroll down and select rhinestones. On the rhinestone panel, there are 4 rhinestone effects. There are 4 different rhinestone sizes. There is rhinestone spacing, where you can adjust how close and how far apart you want your rhinestones. There is a freehand option to add additional rhinestones. There is a release rhinestones to ungroup the rhinestones. And there is a rhinestone counter, which lets you know how many rhinestones are in your design. Now I am going to convert the orange layer. And so I'm going to select the orange layer. On the rhinestone panel, I am going to select the radial rhinestone effect fill. I am going to select 10SS. And I am going to change my spacing to 0.017 and hit enter. Then I'm going to select the green layer. And on the rhinestone panel, I am going to select the radial fill rhinestone effect. I'm going to select 10SS. And I'm going to change my spacing to 0.017 and hit enter. Now the design is completely converted to rhinestones, but there are some spacing issues that I need to fix. So you can see in the P, in the N, a little bit in the O, and in the E. And so to fix it, I am going to release the rhinestones. And to do this, I am going to first select the orange layer. And on the rhinestone panel, I am going to select Release Rhinestones. When the rhinestones are released, each circle becomes individual objects. And so what I'm going to do is, once they're individual objects, I am going to start making the adjustments by moving the circles to fill in the gaps. So I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to start with the N. And so what I'm going to do now is I am going to select a circle. I'm going to zoom in. I am going to select a circle and I am going to move it using my mouse or my arrow key on my keyboard. So I'm going to move them like that. And then to add a circle, I am going to select a circle, hold down my Alt key, and while holding down my Alt key, I am just going to drag a new circle out and place it where I want it. Remember, when making adjustments, you don't want the circles of the same color to touch or overlap, because when you cut your flock, it will not cut as individual circles and your rhinestones won't brush in as easily. I am going to finish making the adjustments to the rest of the orange and the green layer. Now I am finished with making all of the adjustments, and I'm going to group all of the same colors together. To group the colors, I am going to go to the top menu and I am going to select Panels and select by color. When the panel opens, I am going to select the By Fill tab and I'm going to select the orange. When all of the orange is selected, I am going to go to the top menu, select Object, and then Group. I am going to repeat this for the green layer as well. Now that all of the colors have been grouped, I am going to create the layers. And to create the layers, I am going to start with the orange layer. So I'm going to select the orange circles. On the top toolbar, I'm going to select Object. And I'm going to select Make Compound Path. When the color disappears, all you do is go to your fill panel and add your color back. Go to your line style and remove the red outline by selecting None. I'm going to select the green circles, go to Object, select Make Compound Path, and I'm going to go to the fill panel, change the color back to green, go to line style, and change the color to None. Now that I have the layers created, I am going to save the design as an SVG so that I can upload it into Cricut Design Space to cut. And to save the design as an SVG, I am going to select the entire design. And on the top menu, I'm going to select Object and Group, making sure that the design is still selected. I'm going to go back to the top menu. I'm going to select File and Save Selection. Save to hard drive. I am going to name my file, and when I name my file, I want to include the size of my file, and I am going to name my file and also include the size of my file so that I'll always know what size the file is. I am going to change the Save As type to SVG. And then I'm going to select OK. To cut the rhinestone template, I have uploaded it into Cricut Design Space. Here on the Layers panel, you can see all of the layers of the design. So what we need to be cautious of is that this design may not come into Cricut Design Space at the correct size. And so you want to make sure that it is the correct size, and if it's not, you need to correct it. So according to our design and according to Silhouette Studio, the design should be 10.878 in width and 3.341 in height. To check it, I am going to select the entire design. On the top toolbar, I'm going to select size. I am going to check the width, which is 10.878, and that is correct. And height, which is 3.341. If this is correct also. If this wasn't correct, then you would make the changes to the width and the height, and then select anywhere on the canvas to close the window. Now that I have checked that the size of the rhinestone template is correct, I am ready to cut the rhinestone template. And so I'm going to select Make on the top right. Here on this screen is the rhinestone template on the color coordinated mats. And as you can see, I have an orange mat and I have a green mat. And so that I can maximize my flock, I am going to move the layers to the same mat. To move a layer, I am going to select this second mat, which is the green mat. And on the mat, I'm going to select the layer that's on the green mat. And when it's selected, you'll see these three dots to the left of the layer. I'm going to select those three dots. I'm going to select Move Object. I am going to select the mat that I want to move this layer to, and I'm going to move it to the orange mat. Once I select the mat, I'm going to select Confirm on the bottom right of this window. And this is going to move that layer to the new mat. And I'm just going to move the layer down, or move a layer down, and position it on the mat. Now that I have consolidated the mats, there is nothing else to do on this screen because the rhinestone template, the rhinestones will be picked up with Hotfix transfer tape. And so I'm just going to select Continue on the bottom right. Here on the material screen, I am going to select the material setting that I created to cut my rhinestone flop. And I am going to select my material, which is named Rhinestone Flop. And the material setting is 345 cut pressure with 1 pass using a fine point blade. I am going to come back after I get the rhinestone template cut and the rhinestones brushed in so that I can show you how I press it on the shirt. Here at the heat press, I have lint rolled and pre-pressed the shirt. I've also placed the first layer on the shirt about 3 inches from the bottom of the collar, and I am going to press this layer at 350 degrees for 15 seconds. Next, I am going to place the second layer inside of the first layer. And when I am placing it, I want to make sure that I do not overlap any of the rhinestones that is already on the shirt. And so I'm just going to place it inside. And once I'm satisfied with the placement, I am going to once I'm satisfied with the placement, I am going to press this layer at 350 degrees for 15 seconds. Okay, guys, here is the design on the shirt, and I think it came out really cute. What do you think? I think it's so cute. It's sparkly. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? All right, guys. That's all for now. I hope that you're able to follow along with my process. If you like this video and would like to see more, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload a video. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will respond back. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.